Are you good, or are you simply well-behaved? It's a question that might sting a little, isn't it? We like to believe we operate from a place of genuine, innate goodness, that our moral compass is an internal, unshakable guide, consistently pointing towards truth, justice, and compassion. We define ourselves by these virtues, finding comfort and identity in our adherence to what society deems right. But what if this deeply ingrained perception, this entire framework you've painstakingly built your life upon, was not an inherent truth, but a carefully constructed artifice? What if everything you've ever been taught about good and evil was, in fact, a sophisticated, enduring lie, not necessarily born of malice, but meticulously designed over millennia to keep you compliant, predictable, and fundamentally weak? Imagine for a moment that the virtues you hold dearest, the principles that dictate your daily choices and judgments, are merely refined tools of social control, expertly wielded to channel your energy, suppress your individuality, and ensure your conformity within predefined societal bounds. This isn't just about questioning a rule or a law. It's about challenging the very intention behind the concepts of right and wrong themselves. What if the goodness you strive for is simply the most efficient form of self-domestication, preventing you from ever truly accessing your deepest, most formidable strengths? Take a moment with that radical thought. Let its implications ripple through your subconscious, because if it holds even a grain of truth, then the very foundations of your identity, your most cherished beliefs about ethical conduct, about who you are as a moral being, might be resting precariously on shifting sands. This isn't an easy proposition to entertain, let alone accept. It's profoundly unsettling, even offensive to our sensibilities. To suggest that the bedrock of our morality, those principles absorbed from childhood, reinforced by family, education, religious teachings, and every cultural narrative we consume, might be arbitrary or manipulative, feels almost sacrilegious. It's akin to asking a fish to question the very water it breathes, or a bird to doubt the air that lifts its wings. Our values aren't just abstract intellectual concepts, they are woven into the very fabric of our being, dictating our gut reactions, shaping our judgments, informing our relationships, and ultimately defining our place in the world. To suggest they might be artificial, a product of historical contingency or deliberate manipulation, is to invite an existential crisis. It's to feel the comfortable ground of certainty dissolve beneath your feet, threatening to expose a terrifying void where you once believed an immutable, universal truth resided. The instinctive resistance, the flicker of discomfort, perhaps even outrage, that you might be feeling right now is perfectly natural. It's the mind's ancient protective mechanism, fiercely guarding its most sacred, most foundational territory. But sometimes, to truly understand ourselves, to unlock genuine autonomy and strength, we must be willing to bravely step into that discomfort, to confront the most inconvenient, paradigm-shattering truths. And there is no greater, more incisive guide for this perilous journey into the hidden architecture of our own conscience than Friedrich Nietzsche. Forget the simplistic caricatures of a nihilistic madman, set aside the academic jargon and the superficial summaries. Think of Nietzsche not as a philosopher in the traditional sense, but as a kind of psychological dynamite meticulously crafted to shatter complacency and reveal the concealed structures beneath. He offers not pat answers or new dogmas, but rather a formidable arsenal of instruments, powerful, precise, and profoundly unsettling tools designed to excavate the deeply buried origins and motivations of your own values. He doesn't tell you what to believe. He shows you how to question why you believe what you do, and what the true cost of those beliefs might be. He provides the pickaxe, the lantern, and the courage for a descent into the forgotten, often uncomfortable history of your own moral landscape, challenging you to become an archaeologist of your own soul. He empowers you to trace the intricate genealogies of your convictions, to uncover their surprising, often ignoble birthplaces. This is not merely an intellectual exercise, nor a dry academic exploration of ancient texts. This is an invitation to a profound and deeply personal journey of self-discovery. As we delve into the intricate thought processes of John Locke's an essay concerning humane understanding, a foundational text that meticulously dissects how we form any of our ideas, including, crucially, our moral ones, will discover the philosophical bedrock upon which such a profound reevaluation can be built. But beyond Locke's detailed cartography of the mind, we are embarking on an expedition into the hidden history of your own conscience, tracing the lineage of your deepest held convictions. We're going to examine how concepts like good and evil were not handed down from on high, but likely forged in the mundane, often brutal, crucibles of power dynamics, societal fear, and collective self-interest. Prepare to look at yourself, your society, and your understanding of morality through an entirely new, potentially disorienting, yet ultimately liberating lens, one that might just change everything you thought you knew. This journey promises to be challenging, perhaps even infuriating or heartbreaking at times, but ultimately, it offers the profound liberation that comes only from true, unflinching self-knowledge. It's time to find out if you're truly good, or if you've simply been taught and meticulously trained to be well-behaved. Have you ever read a book that felt less like a collection of pages and more like a live wire? A book that hummed with a dangerous energy, promising to either electrify your understanding or utterly short-circuit everything you thought you knew. For me, that book was one I encountered years ago, one that utterly derailed my comfortable black and white worldview. And today, we're going to step into its powerful current together. We're embarking on a journey into a text that, despite its imposing title and philosophical heft, is fundamentally about us. It's about how we've come to be the way we are, how we think, how we judge, and how we build our lives upon foundations that we rarely, if ever, bother to inspect. The book I'm talking about is an exploration into the very bedrock of our most cherished beliefs, the ones we often consider universal truths. And its title? It's profoundly simple once you understand its purpose on the genealogy of morality. Now, that word, genealogy, might sound academic, a bit dusty, but let's simplify it. Think of it like this: every family has a family tree, right? An origin story, a lineage of parents, grandparents, and ancestors stretching back through time, each contributing a piece to who you are today. Well, Nietzsche's genealogy invites us to do the exact same thing, but for our moral beliefs. We're going to uncover the family tree, the origin story, the surprising and often unsettling lineage of our concepts of good and evil, right and wrong, virtue and vice. We're going to dig into why we value what we value, and where those values actually came from. When I first picked up this book, I was operating with a pretty rigid internal compass. Morality to me was a given. It was an objective standard, a universal code, something handed down and easily discernible. Good was good, evil was evil, and the lines were etched in stone. I saw the world and my place in it through this very clear, albeit somewhat narrow lens. Then I read Nietzsche, and it felt like a bomb went off in my intellectual landscape. It was terrifying, I won't lie. All my carefully constructed certainties began to crumble. Imagine watching the very ground you stand on start to crack, revealing churning, ambiguous depths beneath. He didn't just question what we believe, he questioned why we believe it, and more unsettlingly, who benefits from those beliefs. He suggested that our most sacred moral concepts weren't divine revelations or eternal truths, but rather inventions, products of historical struggle, power dynamics, and human needs, often born from places we'd rather not acknowledge. This initial encounter, though disorienting, was also incredibly liberating. It shattered that black and white view of morality, forcing me to confront the fluidity and complexity of human values. It opened my eyes to the idea that our moral frameworks, far from being static, are dynamic, evolving constructs that bear the imprint of their origins. It transformed how I understood myself, others, and the vast, intricate tapestry of human experience. It was like gaining a new pair of glasses, through which the world suddenly appeared in richer, more nuanced colors, even if those colors sometimes included shades of uncomfortable truth. And that, ultimately, is the goal of this journey we're beginning together. This isn't just an academic exercise. This isn't about dissecting a dusty old philosophical text for the sake of it. No. This video series is about using Nietzsche's profound, provocative ideas as a mirror to examine our own lives, our own anxieties, our own sense of purpose, our own judgments, and the unexamined assumptions that shape our daily decisions and our interactions with the world. We will hold up his challenging insights to our contemporary lives, asking ourselves, where do my personal values really come from? Are they truly mine, or have I inherited them wholesale without question? How do the unseen forces of history, culture, and power still influence what I deem good or bad today? This isn't about tearing down morality. It's about understanding its construction so we can build a more conscious, more authentic foundation for our own lives. It's about gaining a deeper self-awareness that allows us to navigate the complexities of modern existence with greater clarity and intention. Over the course of this series, we'll dive deep into each of the 3 essays that make up Nietzsche's genealogy. We'll unpack his arguments about the origins of good and evil, the concept of guilt and conscience, and the meaning of ascetic ideals, which might sound intimidating, but I promise to guide you through it with clarity and accessibility. You don't need a philosophy degree, you just need curiosity and a willingness to look inward, even if what you find is surprising or uncomfortable. We'll break down the concepts, explore their implications, and connect them directly to our own experiences, our own struggles, our own quest for meaning. So if you're ready to embark on a journey that might shake up your preconceived notions, that might feel a little dangerous at times, but ultimately promises a profound and liberating self-understanding, then join me. Let's delve into the challenging, transformative world of On the Genealogy of Morality and discover what it can reveal about the deepest roots of our understanding. Welcome back to our journey through the monumental essay concerning humane understanding by John Locke. In this series, we're not just reading words on a page, we're delving into the very architecture of human thought, perception, and morality. Today, we embark on our first chapter, a truly provocative exploration titled, "The Two Moralities, Are You a Lion or a Sheep?" Now, you might be thinking, what does the meticulous empiricism of Locke's first essay have to do with lions, sheep, and such stark moral classifications? Well, Locke, in his groundbreaking work, lays the foundation for how we understand anything, including the very nature of good and evil, right and wrong. While he meticulously dissects the origins of our ideas, we're going to use a powerful interpretive lens to truly illuminate the hidden power dynamics that shape our understanding of morality, both in society and within ourselves. We're going to dive into the core concepts that reveal how deeply ingrained our moral systems are and how they define us. At its heart, this chapter asks us to confront two fundamentally different modes of valuing the world, two distinct moral systems that permeate human interaction. Let's begin with what we'll call master morality. Imagine for a moment the ancient noble, the powerful chieftain, the creator and innovator. For these individuals, good isn't something handed down, nor is it a reaction to external forces. Instead, good is synonymous with their own strength, their vitality, their pride, and their assertive will to create and overcome. Master morality is the morality of the strong, the self-reliant, the life-affirming. It's about forging your own path, setting your own standards, and declaring what has value through your actions, your courage, your ambition. There's no apology for power, no shame in expressing one's own flourishing. Good is what elevates, what strengthens, what expands life. They don't find values. They create them, asserting their will upon the world, confident in their own judgment. Think of the driven artisan who painstakingly perfects their craft, setting a new benchmark of excellence, or the visionary explorer charting unknown territories, defining their own success not by conformity, but by conquest of the impossible. This is a morality that values greatness, freedom, and the inherent worth of a powerful, self-directed existence. But as with all power dynamics, there is an opposing force, a shadow cast by the light of the masters. This brings us to slave morality. Unlike master morality, which springs from a place of affirmation and self-assertion, slave morality begins with a deep, simmering resentment, a French term we often use here, resentiment. It is the reaction of the oppressed, the powerless, those who feel wronged or diminished, unable to directly assert their own values or overcome their oppressors. They invert the values of the master. What the master calls good strength, pride, ambition, the slave brands as evil. Conversely, what the master might see as weakness or meekness, humility, patience, pity, self-sacrifice, these become the new good. The evil is the master, the powerful, the proud. The good becomes everything the master is not, the gentle, the kind, the humble, the forgiving. This is a morality born of reaction, not creation. It's a morality that champions the herd, the collective, often through subtle forms of psychological warfare and moral condemnation of the powerful. It rewards conformity, safety, and a quiet, unassuming existence, often cloaked in virtues that promise salvation or future reward for present suffering. Let's bring these abstract concepts into our modern world to truly see them in action. Consider the figure of the visionary entrepreneur. This individual, often against tremendous odds, identifies a need, invents a solution, and builds an empire. They are not asking for permission. They are creating their own rules, defining success on their own terms, driven by an inner fire and a profound belief in their own capabilities. They embody master morality, powerful, proud, innovative, shaping the world to their will. Their good is the audacious act of creation, the joy of achievement, the freedom of self-determination. Now, contrast this with a prevalent dynamic you might find in many large corporate office cultures. Here, individual brilliance can sometimes be viewed with suspicion. Conformity is often rewarded over disruptive innovation. The team player who never rocks the boat, who quietly adheres to established protocols, who might even engage in passive-aggressive maneuvering rather than direct confrontation, often thrives. In this environment, the audacious entrepreneur might be seen as too much, not a team player or disruptive. The good here becomes meekness, humility, especially regarding one's own success, patience with slow processes, and a form of kindness that often masks a fear of conflict or a desire to subtly undermine perceived rivals. This is an echo of slave morality, where resentment of individual power and the celebration of the average or the conforming can become the prevailing moral code. Or think about the realm of social media. On one hand, you see influencers building massive platforms driven by personal branding, showcasing aspirational lives, projecting confidence and success, a clear expression of a self-affirming, value-creating master morality. But then, juxtaposed against that, you have the pervasive cancel culture, the constant vigilance for perceived moral transgressions, the collective shaming, the celebrating of victimhood narratives, and the elevation of perceived modesty or humility as a virtue against the arrogance of success. Which moral system do you see dominating our culture today, especially online? Do we reward the creators and the powerful, or do we subtly, or not so subtly, condemn them from a position of collective moral authority? These aren't just abstract philosophical ideas. They are the very fabric of our daily lives, influencing our judgments, shaping our aspirations, and dictating our unspoken rules. Locke, in his magnificent first essay, compels us to examine the origins of our ideas. And by applying this lens of master and slave morality, we begin to truly understand the source of our moral convictions. Are they born of strength and self-affirmation, or of reaction and resentment? This question, fundamental to understanding our own minds and our society, is merely the beginning. In our previous chapter, we embarked on John Locke's ambitious journey into the architecture of the human mind, meticulously tracing how our understanding is built brick by brick from experience. Locke sought to illuminate the very source of our ideas, the raw materials of thought, clearing away the mists of unexamined assumptions. But what happens once those ideas are formed, particularly those deeply embedded about right and wrong? How do certain virtues dominate and others fade? While Locke dissected perception, a different, equally profound inquiry arose centuries later, offering a critical lens to examine the very foundations Locke sought to map, the genesis of our moral convictions. This brings us to a concept that, while not directly from Locke himself, provides a powerful framework for understanding how human emotions profoundly shape the understanding of morality we inherit and perpetuate, often without conscious awareness. Welcome to Chapter 2, The Secret Poison: How Resentment Conquered the World. Today, we delve into a powerful psychological engine, resentment. It's a term commonly misunderstood, conflated with simple resentment, But resentment is far more insidious, a deeper, festering psychological state. Imagine a burning, impotent rage, a profound sense of grievance against a perceived superior or an envied condition, coupled with an utter inability to act upon it. This isn't a fleeting annoyance, it's a deep-seated bitterness that cannot find an outlet in direct, effective action or revenge. The individual or group feels unjustly wronged, undervalued, or simply incapable of attaining what others possess naturally. And precisely because it cannot act because it is fundamentally powerless, it must create . It crafts a new system of values, a twisted morality designed to devalue what it cannot attain and elevate what it already possesses, however humble or unattractive. It's a psychological sleight of hand, rewriting the moral dictionary. This is the core of what has been termed the slave revolt in morality. Picture a scenario where the strong, the noble, the vital define good as everything they embody: powerful, courageous, assertive. The bad, then, is everything weak, passive, fearful. But for those consumed by resentment, this original, master morality is intolerable, a constant reminder of their own perceived inferiority. They cannot become strong, so they must redefine strength itself. And here's the clever, tragic twist: they invert the values. Their own perceived weakness, their inability to act decisively, their suffering is relabeled, rebranded as a conscious moral choice, even a virtue. I am not weak, the voice of resentment declares. I am meek, and blessed are the meek. I am not cowardly, I am peaceful, and compassionate. Inability to take revenge transforms into forgiveness. Inability to achieve material success becomes humility, spiritual wealth. Poverty is elevated to a sign of grace, while ambition is condemned as greed. The natural instincts of the strong self-assertion, joy and power are now deemed evil. What was once a deficiency is now a virtue, and what was once a virtue is now a sin. This subtle psychological reframing permeates the collective consciousness, transforming our shared understanding of good and evil, often without awareness of its emotional origins. This ancient psychological engine, born from impotence and grievance, reverberates powerfully in our modern landscape, often unnoticed. Think about cancel culture. Is it always a genuine pursuit of justice, or can it sometimes be a manifestation of resentment, a collective delight in bringing down the perceived mighty, a reassertion of power by those who feel powerless? Consider social media envy. We scroll, we compare, we often feel inadequacy. Does that translate into genuine self-improvement, or sometimes into a secret hope for the downfall of those we envy? Do we sometimes revel, just a little, in the misfortunes of the seemingly perfect influencer or successful colleague? This isn't to say all critique is resentment, but it is to ask us to look deeper, to question the motivations behind our judgments and reactions. Resentment, when it cannot act, finds solace in condemnation, in leveling the playing field not by rising, but by dragging others down, all under the guise of moral righteousness. This isn't just an abstract philosophical concept. It's a mirror reflecting profound aspects of our own inner lives. So, I invite you to pause and reflect. Where in your own life do you find yourself justifying inaction, a lack of striving, or a hesitant withdrawal with a seemingly noble moral label? Have you ever chosen to call yourself patient when perhaps it was really fear holding you back? Have you embraced humility and dismissed ambition when the path to success felt too daunting? Or perhaps you've championed fairness and equality in a way that subtly seeks to limit someone else's exceptional success, rather than genuinely elevating the less fortunate. The exploration of resentment forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about the hidden wellsprings of our motivations, reminding us that even our most cherished virtues can sometimes emerge from the shadows of unfulfilled desire, suppressed anger, and unacknowledged impotence. As Locke urged us to examine the very ideas that form our understanding, so too must we scrutinize the emotional currents that shape our moral world, lest we unknowingly perpetuate a morality built on secret poison rather than genuine virtue. Welcome back, truth seekers, as we delve deeper into the intricate landscape of human understanding. John Locke's seminal work, An Essay Concerning Humane Understanding, Volume 1 meticulously maps the origins of our ideas and the very architecture of our minds, seeking to define the limits and capabilities of human knowledge. In the spirit of Locke's profound inquiry into the foundations of human thought and behavior, we now turn to a particularly radical and perhaps unsettling theory about a cornerstone of our moral experience, the origin of bad conscience and guilt. This isn't merely an abstract philosophical problem, it's a profound sociological and psychological inquiry into how we, as a species, truly became civilized. This perspective suggests that guilt isn't an inherent, divine moral truth, but rather a sophisticated, almost brutal mechanism invented by society to domesticate the human animal, shaping us for communal life within civilization. Imagine, if you will, the earliest forms of human interaction, long before grand legal codes, abstract ethical systems, or even the concept of universal fairness took root. Our understanding of justice, in this nascent, untamed stage, was raw, transactional, and intensely personal. At its core lay a fundamental, visceral dynamic, the creditor-debtor relationship. Justice here wasn't about an impartial scale or an ideal of objective rightness. It was about balance, certainly, but a balance of power, a tangible exchange, and an immediate satisfaction. If you owed someone, whether a material debt, an injury to person or property, or a transgression against a tribal custom, you had incurred a debt that demanded repayment, and the currency of that repayment, surprisingly often, was suffering. It was a direct, unmistakable settling of accounts, etched not in ledgers, but in the memory of pain. For the creditor, the one who was owed, the act of punishment wasn't a noble gesture of upholding an abstract moral order. No, it was far more primal, more deeply satisfying. It was about the distinct, undeniable pleasure derived from witnessing the debtor's suffering. Picture the fierce gleam in the eye of the wronged, the visceral satisfaction of seeing their tormentor, or the one who broke the agreement, enduring pain, whether physical scourging, social ostracization, or profound emotional degradation. This wasn't malice in our modern, often complex sense. It was a deep-seated, almost biological gratification, a way of reasserting dominance, a reclaiming of lost standing or dignity, albeit through another's explicit and often public pain. This grim pleasure was the original payment, the primal satisfaction of justice served. The inflicted suffering served as a potent, unforgettable reminder of the costs of transgression, ensuring that the debt was settled not just materially, but dramatically, psychologically, and socially. Then came the great shift. As humanity began to coalesce into larger, more organized societies, establishing fixed settlements, common laws, and communal economies, our fundamental nature, inherently aggressive, often impulsive, and frequently cruel, suddenly found itself without its accustomed outlets. The free rein of primal instincts, the urge to dominate, to inflict pain, to assert oneself through raw aggression became a disruptive and unsustainable force within these emerging communal structures. Society demanded a measure of peace, cooperation, and the rigorous suppression of these very impulses for its survival and prosperity. But what happens to such potent, deeply ingrained drives when they have nowhere to go, when external expression is forbidden? They don't simply vanish. Instead, this powerful, aggressive energy, once directed outward against rivals, enemies, and nature itself, underwent a terrifying and profound transformation. It turned inward against ourselves. This, then, is the birth of what philosophers have termed bad conscience. This profound turning of humanity's aggressive instincts inward created an entirely new inner landscape. We began to hate ourselves for our natural inclinations, to feel guilt for impulses that were once simply part of our being in a wilder world. Shame became the suffocating shadow cast by our desires, fear the constant companion of our natural drives, especially those deemed antisocial. This inner critic, this relentless self-punisher, emerged from the very crucible of civilization, a constant internal warden. Our newfound self-hatred, our burgeoning sense of guilt and shame, became not a flaw or a regrettable side effect, but the very foundation of civilized life. It was the ultimate psychological mechanism, a brilliant, if brutal, invention that tamed the beast within, turning us into beings capable of cooperation, hierarchy, and complex social contracts. Without this internalized torment, this perpetual self-policing, society as we know it might never have taken hold. Guilt, in this view, is the invisible cage we built around our own wildness, the internalized leash we placed upon our own instincts to live harmoniously, or at least functionally, alongside others. This perspective compels us to ask a crucial, perhaps uncomfortable question, one that resonates deeply with Locke's overarching quest for understanding the true origins and functions of our mental faculties. Is guilt truly a helpful moral compass, guiding us towards righteousness, empathy, and constructive social behavior? Or is it, in fact, a cunning, deeply ingrained form of self-torture we've been taught to practice? A vestige of ancient power dynamics that continues to shape and even distort our inner lives? Is it a genuine beacon for moral action, or a subtle, pervasive form of self-punishment that keeps us compliant and subservient to societal norms long after their original, pragmatic purpose has faded from conscious memory? As we ponder this, consider how deeply embedded these feelings are within our modern psyche. Every twinge of regret, every flush of shame, every gnawing feeling of having done wrong, are these truly reflections of universal, timeless moral truths? Or are they, in this radical interpretation, echoes of that ancient societal bargain? Are they the enduring price we continue to pay, millennia later, for the privilege of living together in an ordered world? Locke's work encourages us to rigorously question the origin of our ideas and the nature of our understanding, and here, in this profound and unsettling theory, we find ourselves interrogating the very genesis of our moral self and the often unseen cost of becoming human in a civilized world. The journey through understanding is never simple, and sometimes it leads us to uncomfortable truths about who we are and why we feel what we feel. In our ongoing exploration of John Locke's monumental An Essay Concerning Humane Understanding, we've delved into the very architecture of thought, examining how our minds acquire knowledge and forge understanding. Yet, Locke's meticulous dissection of our intellectual faculties inherently provokes deeper questions about the less rational, more profound impulses that shape human meaning. It is within this broader philosophical landscape, stretching the canvas of Locke's own direct observations, that we find ourselves confronted by a fascinating and perhaps unsettling phenomenon, the ascetic ideal. While Locke himself was primarily concerned with the mechanisms of knowledge and rational conduct, the third essay, in its meticulous dissection of how we construct knowledge and derive certainty, indirectly sets the stage for examining the often irrational impulses that drive human endeavor beyond pure reason, impulses that reveal a deep-seated human tendency towards self-denial as a source of meaning. What exactly is this ascetic ideal? At its core, it is the profound and pervasive belief that denying our natural instincts, embracing discomfort, and even actively seeking out suffering is not merely a path to virtue or enlightenment, but is fundamental to imbuing life with meaning. It's a stark, almost audacious claim, yet one could argue it has, for much of human history, been the only asterisk meaning humanity has truly embraced and understood. This isn't simply about delayed gratification, but a conviction that profound significance blossoms from deprivation. That spiritual or intellectual ascent requires a deliberate descent from worldly pleasures. This ideal manifests in countless forms across cultures and centuries, often draped in the robes of different pursuits. Consider the priest, foregoing worldly pleasure, personal possessions, and carnal desires, convinced that through renunciation they draw closer to the divine. Their suffering, their vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience are not seen as burdens, but as crucibles in which a higher purpose is forged. Then there is the dedicated philosopher, often depicted in stark solitude, renouncing the distractions of society and the comforts of the body for the relentless pursuit of abstract truth. Their suffering is intellectual rigor, the lonely, often fruitless, struggle with complex ideas, a self-imposed mental asceticism in the service of understanding. Even the scientist, in a more modern guise, can embody this ideal, sacrificing personal life, comfort, and sometimes even health in the arduous, often frustrating quest for objective knowledge. They endure sleepless nights, repetitive experiments, and intellectual isolation, all for a glimmer of insight into the universe's workings. In each case, the path to perceived meaning is paved with conscious self-limitation and intentional hardship. The function of this ideal is profoundly psychological. It acts as a potent balm, especially for those who might otherwise feel powerless or lost. For the suffering, for the seemingly insignificant, it offers not just a purpose, but a profound sense of superiority. To willfully endure what others crave, to master oneself where others are slaves to instinct, confers a unique status. It is at its core a manifestation of the will to power not over others directly, but over the self and by extension, over the perceived chaos and meaninglessness of existence. By asserting dominion over our own bodies and desires, we exert a profound control over our inner world, and in doing so, lay claim to a higher form of freedom and significance. Today, in our hyper-connected, comfort-driven world, one might assume the ascetic ideal has faded into the archives of history. Yet, it merely morphs, donning new disguises, often shedding its overtly spiritual garb for secular garments. Look around, the relentless pace of hustle culture, where sacrificing sleep, leisure, and personal relationships for professional advancement is not only tolerated but celebrated, often framed as the only path to success and fulfillment. Extreme dietary regimes, from rigorous intermittent fasting to highly restrictive cleanses, demand significant self-denial and often physical discomfort, promising not just health but a sense of purification and control over one's own body. Even the increasingly popular digital detox, where individuals voluntarily disconnect from the pervasive allure of screens and online interaction, echoes this ancient impulse to renounce an omnipresent comfort for a perceived greater good, mental clarity, present moment awareness, a return to real life. Are these not, in essence, secularized versions of the same ancient impulse? In embracing the difficulty, the deprivation, the deliberate hardship, we still secretly seek that elusive sense of meaning, that profound satisfaction of triumphing over our baser desires or the seductive comforts of modern life. It raises a profound question, one that Locke's inquiry into human understanding implicitly challenges us to confront. If the mind is primarily an instrument for acquiring and organizing knowledge, for navigating the world through reason and experience, why do we so consistently seek to define our very essence through its deliberate denial and the embrace of suffering? What does this enduring human fascination with self-imposed hardship reveal about our deepest needs for purpose and identity? In our journey through the intricate landscape of human understanding, guided by minds committed to clarity and truth, we've explored the very foundations of how we know what we know. We've championed the rigorous examination of ideas, the unwavering commitment to reason, and the relentless quest to strip away illusion. Yet, this very commitment, this absolute will to truth, holds within it a profound and terrifying paradox. What if the relentless pursuit of understanding, taken to its furthest, most uncompromising extreme, ultimately unravels the very fabric of our shared reality, exposing the fragile illusions upon which our most cherished values are built? This is the dizzying conclusion we are forced to confront: the absolute will to truth. Born from an ancient ascetic ideal, the drive to honesty, self-denial, and the pursuit of knowledge above all else ultimately turns on itself. It becomes a corrosive acid, dissolving not just falsehoods, but the very truths that once anchored our morality and even our conception of the divine. For centuries, both religious dogma and scientific inquiry, in their own distinct ways, have championed the search for ultimate truth. Religion promised absolute revelations, an immutable moral order handed down from a transcendent source. Science, meanwhile, embarked on a mission of empirical discovery, tirelessly dissecting the world, demystifying phenomena, and seeking rational explanations for everything. But what happens when this intense, unyielding gaze, this passion for honesty at all costs, turns inward, scrutinizing the very foundations of morality itself? What happens when it begins to question the universal claims of good and evil, justice and injustice, revealing them not as eternal, divine edicts, but as deeply human, culturally constructed narratives, born of specific needs and historical contingencies? This relentless search for truth eventually leads us to question the truth of morality, to see its principles not as etched in stone, but as conventions we agreed upon, often unknowingly, for the sake of societal cohesion or the continuation of life itself. And in its wake, it casts a long shadow over the concept of God, challenging the very notion of an objective, transcendent source for meaning and values. This is the profound cultural earthquake known as the death of God. It's a phrase often misunderstood as merely a declaration of atheism, but it is far more significant than that. The death of God signifies the collapse of a shared, objective source, for meaning and values in the Western world. It's not just that people stopped believing in a divine being. It's that the entire framework, the grand narrative, the ultimate justification for why we should be good, why life has meaning, why certain actions are right and others wrong, has fundamentally disintegrated. The heavens have gone silent, and in their place, a vast, echoing void emerges. We are left in a state of profound disorientation, a kind of nihilism where the old signposts have vanished and the comfortable certainties of inherited morality lie shattered. There's a crushing weight to this realization. If there is no divine mandate, no absolute standard, then are all values merely arbitrary? Is life inherently meaningless? This crisis is undeniably terrifying, stripping away the comfort of established order and shared purpose. Yet, within this terrifying void lies an extraordinary, unprecedented opportunity. For if the old frameworks are truly gone, if the objective truths that once dictated our lives have proven to be, in part, illusions we created, then we are also free. Free from the shackles of inherited dogma, free from the prescribed paths, free from the burden of an external authority dictating our worth or our purpose. The unraveling of our old values, while plunging us into a state of nihilistic questioning, simultaneously liberates us. This is the ultimate Nietzschean challenge, the monumental task laid at the feet of modern humanity. If God is dead, and with him, the objective foundation of our morality, then what comes next? What will we as free beings create in this vast, empty canvas? What new values will we forge, not out of obedience or fear, but out of our own will, our own strength, our own vision for humanity? This is not an invitation to chaos, but a profound call to responsibility, a demand for courage in the face of an unprecedented freedom. The question of our purpose now rests squarely on our own shoulders, waiting for us to answer. As we draw this intellectual journey to a close, having delved deep into the very foundations of human understanding with John Locke, we've systematically dismantled many preconceived notions about how we come to know the world and indeed ourselves. Locke's meticulous empiricism, his insistence that all our knowledge originates from experience, has profound implications extending far beyond the realm of simple sensory input. It challenges the very bedrock of what we often consider absolute and immutable, our moral framework. Through Locke, we've come to appreciate that even our most abstract ideas, including those concerning good and evil, justice and virtue, are ultimately derived from sensation and reflection, built up piece by painstaking piece within the human mind, rather than existing independently in some Platonic realm. This journey has shown us that the intricate tapestry of our moral consciousness is not handed down fully formed from an external infallible source, but rather it is spun from the threads of our lived experience, our social interactions, and our evolving understanding of ourselves and our place in the world. We've traversed the terrain where certainty once stood unchallenged, only to discover that many of the truths we hold dearest, particularly those governing our conduct and our sense of right and wrong, are not etched into the cosmos by a divine hand, nor are they self-evident axioms handed down from eternity. Instead, our morality, our elaborate systems of good and evil, fairness and injustice, are revealed to be profoundly, wonderfully, and sometimes terrifyingly human inventions. They are intricate constructs, woven from the fabric of our historical narratives, our psychological needs, our societal agreements, and the practical demands of communal living. They emerged not as divine decrees, but as adaptive strategies evolved over millennia to navigate the complexities of human interaction, to foster cooperation, to mitigate conflict, and to lend meaning to an otherwise indifferent universe. This understanding, gleaned through the lens of empirical inquiry, sets the stage for a dramatic, yet essential, next step in our personal and philosophical evolution, a confrontation with the freedom and responsibility that such a revelation demands. It is precisely this realization, this unmasking of morality's human origins, a realization Locke implicitly paved the way for, even if his own conclusions were more tempered, that catapults us into the formidable challenge laid down by thinkers like Friedrich Nietzsche. If our values are not absolute, if the ground beneath our moral certainties has shifted, then what? For many, this revelation can be deeply disorienting, even nihilistic. The comforting anchors of tradition, faith, and objective truth appear to dissolve, leaving behind a void. If God is dead, if absolute truth is an illusion, what prevents us from succumbing to despair, to a sense of meaninglessness, or worse, to an anything-goes relativism that undermines all striving? This is where Nietzsche introduces his concept of the Übermensch, often mistakenly translated and sensationalized as Superman, conjuring images of caped crusaders or genetically superior beings. But the Übermensch, or overhuman, is far more profound and far less literal. The Übermensch is not a physical upgrade, nor a societal elite defined by power or privilege. It is an internal transformation, a philosophical aspiration for every individual. This is the individual who, having confronted the abyss of nihilism, the terrifying prospect that life, in itself, has no inherent, preordained meaning, chooses not to succumb. Instead, they embrace this radical freedom and the immense burden it carries. They are the ones with the courage to look upon the ruins of old, inherited value systems, systems that promised comfort and external validation, and decide to build anew. The Übermensch is the person who overcomes nihilism not by finding a new, ready-made truth to latch onto, but by actively creating their own life-affirming values, their own purposes, their own reasons for being. They transcend the passivity of merely accepting what has been handed down. They become the architect of their own ethical universe, an individual whose will to power manifests not in domination over others, but in self-overcoming and self-creation, continually striving upwards towards a higher ideal that they themselves define. This then brings us to the core of personal responsibility in a world stripped of external absolutes. The journey to becoming an overhuman is a deeply personal, often solitary one, and it demands an immense degree of introspection and self-authorship. It means shedding the lifelong habit of seeking external validation, whether from religious dogma, the dictates of societal expectations, the latest self-help guru, or even the fleeting approval of our peers on social media. It demands that we stop outsourcing our sense of worth, our purpose, and our very definition of good to forces outside ourselves, forces that, as Locke might remind us, are often themselves human constructs. Instead, we are called to look inward, to our deepest desires, our unique strengths, our authentic passions, and to legislate our own meaning. This isn't an invitation to anarchy or selfish hedonism, which would be merely another form of passive reaction. Rather, it's a rigorous ethical discipline, a profound act of courage that requires us to meticulously examine what truly invigorates our spirit, what fosters our growth, what genuinely contributes to a life worth living, not just for ourselves, but for the flourishing of humanity in our own unique way through our individual contributions. It's about designing a moral compass where the true north is calibrated by our own deeply considered, life-affirming principles forged through experience and reflection, not by the echoes of ancient commands or the fleeting whims of the crowd. It is, ultimately, the courage to stand alone, anchored by values we ourselves have chosen and continually refine in the crucible of self-awareness, intention, and radical honesty. So as we emerge from this exploration, armed with a profound understanding of how our knowledge is formed and how our moral frameworks are constructed, not divinely imposed, but humanly made, from our experiences and our needs, we arrive at a pivotal moment. The old rules, the ones that often felt unyielding and eternal, are now revealed in their true light as sophisticated, albeit human, inventions. They served their purpose, they guided generations, they provided necessary structure, but they are not inherently absolute or forever binding. This isn't a call to dismantle everything mindlessly or to cast aside all tradition. Rather, it's an empowering invitation to critically engage with our inherited values, to question their utility for our asterisk lives, and to consciously choose which to affirm, which to adapt, and which to courageously discard. The question before us, the ultimate challenge, and the most liberating opportunity that arises from this philosophical journey is this: now that you know the rules were made up, not by some cosmic legislator, but by humanity, through history, culture, and psychology, what new rules will you create for your own life? What new values will you forge? What purposes will you declare to build a life of authenticity, courage, and profound meaning, a life that is truly your own masterpiece? We've explored John Locke's profound insights into how we form our understanding, how our ideas are shaped by experience and reflection. He invited us to look inward, to dissect the very architecture of our minds. Now, let's apply a critical methodology that dives deeper into the why behind our most deeply held moral convictions. This is your 7-day genealogy of morals action plan, inspired by Nietzsche, designed to help you apply a critical method to your own life, moving from theory to practice. It's an opportunity for your own empirical investigation into the origins and influences behind your moral ideas, enriching your humane understanding of yourself. Over the next week, you'll become an observer, an interrogator, an experimenter, and finally, a creator of your own moral landscape. This isn't about discarding morality, but understanding its roots within you. Let's begin. Day 1 and Day 2, observe, ask for the next 48 hours. Become a diligent chronicler of your moral judgments. Carry a journal and note down instances where you label something an action, a thought, a person as good or bad. This isn't about changing anything, just observing. For example, when you see someone cutting in line and your internal monologue labels it bad or unjust, or you judge your own procrastination as bad or discipline as good. Once you've identified these judgments, pause and ask 2 crucial questions. Firstly, is this a master or a slave judgment? And secondly, whose values am I truly using here? Master morality, in Nietzsche's framework, arises from strength. It values pride, courage, originality. Good is what benefits itself, bad is what is low or contemptible. It doesn't need external validation. Slave morality, conversely, emerges from the weak. It defines good as what alleviates suffering, promotes equality, sympathy. It often demonizes master traits like pride, labeling them evil, born of resentment. So, when you judge the line cutter as bad, are you expressing a master's disdain for disorder or a slave's resentment of someone taking advantage of the collective? When deeming self-sacrifice good, is it a master's admiration for strength of will or a slave's celebration of humility? The second question, whose values am I using here, pushes you further. Is this value truly your own or inherited from parents, culture, religion, or peers? Locke highlighted how much of our understanding is shaped by tradition. Journal these observations, these initial questions without judgment. Gather the data, moving to the middle of our week. Ask day 3 and day 4. Interrogate. Ask now. Identify one specific moment from your recent past where you felt a strong pang of envy, resentment, or guilt. Choose just one clear instance and sit with that feeling. Perhaps it was envy for a colleague's promotion, resentment when a friend disregarded your feelings, or guilt after taking time for yourself. Once identified, trace it back to its source. Don't just acknowledge the feeling, interrogate it. Ask yourself, what desire or feeling of powerlessness is this emotion hiding? If it's envy, what do you truly desire? Is it the promotion or the recognition, security, freedom? Is your envy a cover for powerlessness in your own career, a belief you lack agency? If it's resentment, what expectation was unmet? What perceived injustice fuels this? Is it a hidden desire for control, and does its presence suggest a feeling of powerlessness in influencing outcomes? If it's guilt, what deep-seated belief about good behavior is being violated? Is your guilt hiding a suppressed desire to prioritize your own needs, but you feel powerless to do so without disapproval? Are you carrying a should that isn't truly yours? This requires courage and honesty. Peel back layers of socially acceptable emotions to reveal raw truths. What lies beneath? A desire for power, autonomy, recognition, or a feeling of inadequacy and lack of control? Journal your insights. This helps understand the origins of these moral and emotional responses within your own humane understanding. As we approach the weekend, it's time to translate insight into action. Day 5 and day 6, experiment. Having observed and interrogated, now you get to experiment. Over the next 2 days, consciously act on a personal desire you've previously suppressed due to guilt or the fear of being seen as selfish. This isn't an invitation to harm others. It's a deliberate, mindful act of self-assertion within reasonable bounds. Perhaps you've wanted to spend an entire afternoon reading without interruption, but felt guilty ignoring chores. Maybe you long to pursue a hobby your family deems frivolous, or simply ordering exactly what you want at a restaurant, not what's easiest. The key is to identify a desire that feels genuinely yours, quieted by external moral frameworks or societal expectations. As you engage, pay close attention to how it feels. Initial sensations? Discomfort, guilt, or liberation? Note internal dialogues or external reactions. How do you reconcile this with previous moral programming? Does it feel wrong intuitively, or just unfamiliar against learned patterns? This experimentation is crucial. It tests the validity of suppressed desires. Does acting on this selfish desire truly lead to negative outcomes, or does it unlock vitality and congruence? Journal every detail. This is your personal laboratory for understanding the interplay between your desires and your acquired moral framework, expanding your humane understanding of your own will. Finally, the culmination of our week. Ask day 7, Create a SEPS after days of observation, interrogation, and experimentation. You are equipped for creation. Today, reflect on everything you've learned and write down one personal value that is truly your own. This value should be independent of what society, family, friends, or any external authority thinks is good. It's a value that resonates with your core being, forged in the crucible of your self-inquiry. It might be authentic self-expression, intellectual curiosity, personal autonomy, creative freedom, or something entirely unique to you. This isn't about rejecting all societal values, but identifying one foundational principle you consciously choose for yourself, understanding its origins within your own genuine desires. It's moving from passively receiving moral ideas to actively authoring your own, deeply enriching your humane understanding. This value should feel empowering, inspiring, and inherently right for *U*. It might be a value that, when embraced, makes moments of envy, resentment, or guilt less potent because you are living more in alignment with your own truth. Write it down, consider it a cornerstone of your consciously chosen ethical framework. This 7-day action plan, inspired by Nietzsche's radical inquiry, complements Locke's exploration of human understanding. By dissecting the origins of your own moral ideas, you gain not just intellectual insight, but practical wisdom and self-authorship. You move beyond merely knowing that you have ideas, to understanding why you have them, and whether they truly serve your most authentic self. It's an ongoing project of refining your personal humane understanding, a journey both challenging and rewarding. Take these lessons forward, continue to question, observe, and create. The clarity it brings is invaluable. Welcome to a radical paradigm shift, a concise yet profound journey into the very heart of Nietzsche's most challenging ideas, distilled into 3 potent insights that will forever alter your perception of morality, guilt, and freedom. Prepare to question everything. Our first crucial takeaway: morality, as we commonly understand it, is not a given, it is a meticulously crafted weapon. For centuries, we've accepted the binary of good versus evil as an immutable truth, perhaps even divinely ordained. But Nietzsche vehemently argued that this dominant, pervasive moral framework, particularly the slave morality that champions humility, compassion, and equality, was not born from inherent virtue, but ingeniously invented by the weak. Picture a grand psychological warfare campaign waged not with armies, but with concepts. The herd, those lacking brute strength or aristocratic prowess, cleverly inverted the values of the naturally powerful, the masters who celebrated pride, strength, and individual excellence. Through this inversion, qualities like power and self-assertion were relabeled as evil, while weakness, submission, and pity were elevated to good. This profound sleight of hand served a singular, insidious purpose: to psychologically disarm, control, and ultimately subjugate the strong, making them feel guilty for their natural inclinations, thereby ensuring the survival and dominance of the majority through the subtle chains of moral condemnation. It's a testament to the power of language and belief, a societal trick played on the human spirit, designed to tame the wild and unpredictable in favor of the manageable and predictable. This revelation alone is enough to shake the foundations of conventional thought, urging us to scrutinize every moral imperative we've ever blindly accepted. Moving to our second core insight: guilt, that gnawing sensation of self-reproach, is fundamentally internalized cruelty. Consider the origins of human society, the monumental task of transforming savage, aggressive individuals into cooperative, law-abiding citizens. This civilizing process, Nietzsche contended, demanded a profound and often brutal transformation of our primal instincts. We were forced to suppress our outward aggression, our raw impulses, our natural desire for dominance and unchecked expression in order to live amongst others. But these powerful, untamed drives don't simply vanish, they turn inward. Like a caged beast, our own aggressive energy, once directed externally, was redirected against ourselves. This profound unconscious redirection is precisely what forged the bad conscience, our ubiquitous inner critic. This relentless, self-punishing voice within us is not a sign of moral enlightenment, but rather the psychological residue of a species that learned to be cruel to itself in the absence of external outlets for its aggression. It's the self-inflicted torment that keeps us in line, the invisible chains of self-condemnation that make us moral by forcing us to internalize the very punishment society once meted out. Then is a testament to humanity's capacity for self-torture, a profound and pervasive form of psychological self-flagellation that underscores the immense cost of civilization. Understanding this origin is not to excuse aggression, but to recognize the deep, often painful, psychological mechanics at play in our moral landscape. And this leads us to our third, truly liberating conclusion: freedom truly begins where morality ends. Once we grasp the genealogical nature of our values, that they are not eternal truths handed down from on high, but rather human inventions, historical contingencies, and psychological strategies, we unlock an unprecedented level of liberation. The moment we understand why certain values arose, the interests they served, and the power dynamics they perpetuated, their absolute authority begins to crumble. This comprehension frees us from the inherited shackles of unquestioned obedience. It empowers us to critically examine every thou shalt and thou shalt not that governs our lives, to dissect the very fabric of our moral universe. This isn't an invitation to nihilism or chaos, but a profound call to self-overcoming and self-creation. It's the radical freedom to move beyond passive acceptance, to no longer be a mere echo of society's dictates. Instead, we are given the monumental power and responsibility to question these inherited values, to forge our own ethical framework, to define our own good and evil based on our deepest potential and strongest will, to become, in effect, the creators of our own meaning, the sculptors of our own virtues. This journey, while demanding immense courage and self-honesty, is the path to becoming truly autonomous, to living a life authentically chosen, where our values are a testament to our individual strength and vision, rather than a legacy of collective weakness and control. It is the exhilarating prospect of taking destiny, and indeed our very soul, into our own hands. We've just scratched the surface of John Locke's profound an essay concerning humane understanding, Volume 1. His meticulous deconstruction of how our minds acquire knowledge, how ideas form, and how we attribute good and evil to our perceptions isn't merely an academic exercise from centuries past. It's a living, breathing challenge to the very bedrock of our contemporary thought, a potent solvent for unexamined assumptions, and a profound call to intellectual humility. Locke invites us, indeed compels us, to peel back the layers of tradition, inherited beliefs, and the pervasive cultural conditioning that often dictate our understanding of ourselves and the complex world around us. This journey with Locke isn't about memorizing historical facts or esoteric philosophical terms. It's about internalizing a robust method of critical inquiry, cultivating a spirit of intellectual courage that dares to ask, why do I believe this? What empirical evidence supports it? Or is it merely a good I've absorbed from my environment, a societal convention I've never truly questioned, never truly owned? This is precisely where your personal philosophical journey truly begins, unfurling itself with each thoughtful interrogation and every brave step into the unknown. Locke provides the intellectual framework, the initial compass, but you, the curious explorer, must bravely chart your own unique course. He forces us to confront the often uncomfortable truth that many of the goods we hold dear, the values we consider self-evident and immutable, might simply be complex ideas built upon simpler ones, perhaps upon a foundational experience or an agreement we've never properly scrutinized. They might be good not due to some intrinsic, universal essence, but because they have been conventionally deemed so, or because they serve a particular utility, perhaps even a personal or collective pleasure, as Locke himself so eloquently suggested. The implications of this realization are nothing short of monumental. If our understanding of good is primarily shaped by sensory experience, careful reflection, and societal convention rather than some pre-existing, immutable objective truth, then what does that truly say about the moral frameworks we live by, the political systems we labor to construct, and the deeply personal ethics we strive daily to uphold? The very fabric of our perceived reality, our most deeply held convictions, begins to unravel and reweave itself under Locke's penetrating, unflinching gaze. This video, I genuinely hope, has served not just as an informational session, but as a powerful catalyst, an intellectual spark designed to ignite and sustain your own internal dialogue, your own ongoing quest for clarity and truth. It's an urgent invitation to step beyond passive reception and into active, engaged participation in the grand, unending conversation of philosophy that has shaped human civilization for millennia. Locke teaches us that our understanding, our very comprehension of existence, is not a static endpoint to be reached, but a continuous, dynamic process. It's a constant negotiation with new information, evolving perspectives, and the ever-shifting landscape of human experience. And crucially, this profound process of intellectual awakening is not meant to be undertaken in isolating solitude. The profound beauty of philosophical exploration lies not solely in individual revelation, but in shared inquiry, in the stimulating collision and enriching communion of diverse, thoughtful perspectives. It is through this collaborative intellectual endeavor that ideas truly gain traction, are rigorously tested, meticulously refined, and ultimately become more robust and universally resonant. Therefore, building upon this shared foundation of inquiry, I want to pose a direct and deeply personal challenge, a prompt for your immediate and continued engagement with these foundational concepts. Based on this video, based on our in-depth exploration of Locke's revolutionary ideas concerning the very mechanisms by which we form concepts of good and evil, what is one specific good value you are now, perhaps for the very first time, seriously questioning? What is something you've always accepted as inherently positive, perhaps even unquestionable, that Locke's meticulous insights have led you to re-examine, to hold up to the light of critical scrutiny and thoughtful re-evaluation? Share it openly and thoughtfully in the comments below. This isn't an exercise in cynical deconstruction or the facile discarding of deeply held values. Rather, it's about understanding their profound origins, their underlying foundations, and rigorously assessing whether they truly serve the purpose we so readily attribute to them, or if a re-evaluation might lead to a deeper, more authentic personal ethics. But please, don't let your thoughtful contribution be the end of your engagement. This isn't merely a digital space for you to broadcast your thoughts into the ether, hoping for a response. This is by design an emerging community, a vibrant collective of intensely curious and intellectually courageous minds, all grappling with the same profound questions Locke first articulated centuries ago, questions that resonate with startling, often uncomfortable, relevance in our complex modern world. I urge you, implore you even, to take the time to invest the precious intellectual effort to genuinely read through the comments left by your fellow seekers. Engage with them meaningfully, respond thoughtfully, challenge respectfully, always with the spirit of genuine inquiry guiding your words. Offer your own nuanced interpretations, your agreements, your disagreements. Perhaps you'll discover a kindred spirit who is questioning the very same societal norm, experiencing a similar intellectual awakening. Or perhaps you'll encounter a perspective entirely different from your own, a viewpoint that further refines, expands, or even dramatically alters your own understanding, pushing you to new intellectual frontiers. This vibrant, shared dialogue is the fertile ground where ideas truly evolve, where robust communities of thought are forged, and where we, collectively, advance our humane understanding, much as generations of philosophers throughout history have built upon, critiqued, and transformed the monumental work of their predecessors. This is how the intellectual lineage continues, how the torch of inquiry is passed forward, and how our collective wisdom grows. If this deep dive into the very architecture of human understanding, if this persistent questioning of what we deem good and why has truly sparked something profound within you, if it has opened a new, expansive vista in your intellectual landscape, then take heart. Your true journey of philosophical exploration has only just begun. And for your next vital, intellectually challenging step, I highly recommend you turn your keen attention to a figure who, centuries after Locke, radically redefined our perception of morality, truth, and value itself, Friedrich Nietzsche. Specifically, his seminal and revolutionary work, Beyond Good and Evil, where Locke meticulously dissects the origins and formation of our ideas, tracing them back to empirical experience. Nietzsche audaciously questions the value of those very values, probing into what deeper forces, psychological, historical, cultural, and even biological, truly lie beneath our most cherished moral codes and ethical imperatives. It's a natural, profoundly challenging, and ultimately exhilarating progression that will further sharpen your critical faculties and expand your philosophical horizons in ways you can scarcely begin to imagine. It's an essential next chapter in understanding the human condition, inviting you to question the very foundations of your ethical world. To continue fostering this vital intellectual sanctuary, this digital agora for rigorous inquiry and shared enlightenment, and for more deep dives that unflinchingly challenge everything you thought you knew, that deconstruct the very foundations of your perception, your understanding, and your worldview, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification bell. Doing so ensures you won't miss our next video, our next journey into the minds of history's greatest thinkers, our next profound opportunity to collectively push the boundaries of humane understanding. Your active engagement, your thoughtful questions, your insightful participation, they are the indispensable lifeblood of this community, and they fuel our shared, ongoing quest for deeper knowledge, profound self-awareness, and a more critically informed perspective on the world we inhabit.